Hi everyone, and welcome back to Dimitra's Dishes. So today I'm going to teach you how to make a beautiful and elegant dessert. It is a great substitute if you don't feel like making apple pies this Thanksgiving. They're sort of like a pie and a decoration all in one. They're very pretty. They're called, well, let's call them apple pie rose pastries, right? They're delicious. They're in the shape of a rose, and they're just a few ingredients, and it's so basic and easy. These are all over Pinterest and the internet. Everyone's making them. I'm going to give you my version on them. I haven't seen anybody make it with a cream cheese pastry. I taught you how to make a very easy to make pie dough, and we're going to use that. It's a cream cheese pastry pie dough. Make sure you have that on hand. We're going to need some melted butter, a little bit of cinnamon sugar. It's just a couple tablespoons of sugar with like a teaspoon of cinnamon. A little bit of apricot jam thinned out with some water, and some strawberry jam thinned out with some water. But you can use whatever jam you like on these. You can do them all with strawberry or all with apricot, or you could even use orange. Orange marmalade would probably go really nice with this. I'm going to put these on the side because we're going to get started on rolling out our pastry. Now I'm just going to dust my work surface with a little bit of flour, and then I'm also going to dust my rolling pin with some flour. We're going to roll this out until it's very, very thin, about 18 inches by 14 inches. That's what you're looking for. So I know that the height of my board is 18 inches, and I know that this cupcake pan is 14 inches wide, so it's pretty much what I'm looking for. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to trim the edges so we can get a nice sort of rectangular, even shape. And you never want to throw these away because these can be turned into another dessert. You can just roll these up, actually make these like into long little straws and brush some egg wash on them and sprinkle them with some cinnamon sugar, and you'll have little sweet cinnamon straws. Or you can use a little pie cut cutter. They have some of these beautiful autumn, fall leaf shapes. You can roll these out and just in beautiful little leaf shapes and sprinkle some sugar on them and bake them off and put these on top of your pies. So it's definitely something that you want to save for later use. Okay, so now I'm going to cut this into 9 strips, about 2 inches each, 2 inches wide, 2 inches wide each. And I know that this part of my knife is 2 inches wide, so I'm going to use that as sort of like a guide. If you want to, you can take out a ruler and do this, but it doesn't have to be precise. Just like that. You want to have 9 strips, and I'm going to brush half of these with my strawberry jam and the other half with my apricot. And you just want to put just a tiny bit, just like a little strip of jam on there, because we're going to spread this out. And you don't want to have too much on there, otherwise it'll ooze out and kind of like make a sticky mess. You can just roll this up just as is and make the most delicious cookies that you've ever had. But we're not doing that. I'm just giving you extra ideas of what you could do with this pie dough. I'm going to scoot these over because I'm going to slice my apples now. Don't worry if it kind of separates like this or breaks. You can stick it back together. And it will stick back together once you roll it up with the apples. Now you want to take a nice red apple. I like the way gala apples. Do you pronounce them gala or gala? I don't know. I pronounce them gala, but I'm just going to cut it down the center. You can use gala apples. You can use Pink Lady or Red Delicious. I'm not a huge fan of Red Delicious because they do tend to be a little bit mushy. I love the way the gala apples kind of hold their shape. I'm just going to I have a spoon right here. I'll just get this spoon. I just cut it down the center, and then I scoop out the seed inside. If you have an apple core, this is the time to use it. I'm not really big on gadgets, so I don't have one because the spoon really does the job. And if you have a mandolin that slices apples really, really super thin, then go ahead and use that. My mandolin keeps them even at the thinnest setting. They're still too thick for this, and you want to stay as thin as you can when you're doing these slices, because then they'll be able to soften when we warm them up in the microwave later on. Otherwise, if they don't soften and they stay hard, they kind of break when you're rolling them in your pastry. So take the first slice and save it on the side for later to eat. And you want to cut the slices as thin as you can get them. Like this. So this is the thickness, or I should say the thinness, that you're looking for. I'm just going to go ahead and keep slicing the rest of the apples. When you're done slicing one apple, you want to put it on a big plate, spread it out, and just pop it in the microwave for about 45 seconds until a minute, until they start to become really soft and they're easy to bend. I'm going to pop this in there and then slice my other apple, and I'm going to repeat the step and microwave them until they're really nice and soft, about 45 seconds to a minute. Okay, so now while your apples are hot, this step goes really, really quickly. So you want to make sure that your oven is already preheated at 375 degrees. We're going to use a muffin tin to do these in. If you wanted to, if you don't have a muffin tin, you could use little ramekins, little round ramekins. That would work fine too. But I'm going to use my muffin tin. It's non-stick, so it's easier, I feel like, to work with. And I'm just going to put a little bit of butter on 9 of these sections. And I'm also going to sprinkle just a little bit of the cinnamon sugar in the bottom. Keep this on the side. Okay, so I'm going to just layer halfway in the apples. And we leave the skin on because that's going to create the beautiful petal look. You'll see what I'm talking about when they're ready. These are so simple. When you finish one, you just roll it up halfway to kind of hug those apples in there. Like that. Move on to the next one. We're going to go down all of these rows, layering our apples and folding the bottom part of the dough over. Then we're going to move on to the next step. Now, the next step is to just brush a little bit of butter on each strip with the apples in them. And then we're going to take a little bit of our cinnamon sugar and sprinkle that over the butter. Layers and layers of goodness. And then we're going to take each strip and we're just going to roll it up, just like that. Look at that. Beautiful. Then we're going to pop it in to each section of our muffin tin, and I'm going to continue rolling them all up and putting them in my muffin tin. So I'm putting in all the sections that I've buttered and sprinkled with my cinnamon sugar. Even though these are non-stick, it's just, first of all, it has the extra sugar on the bottom that's going to coat these on the bottom and make them a little crisp and flavorful, but just make sure you put it in the right section. So at this point, you can do two things. You just want to sprinkle some more of the cinnamon sugar over your roses. If you wanted to, you could also drizzle some butter on top of these, kind of brush it on top. That's going to give them that sort of like antique rose effect because they are going to get a little bit more brown in the oven. So it's up to you. It all depends on how much brownness you want on your roses. If you want them a little lighter, skip on the butter. If you want them a little bit darker, go ahead and brush these with some butter. My oven is preheated at 375 degrees. These are going to go in until the pastry is golden brown and until the apples are nice and golden also as well. And I'll show you what they look like when they come out. They already look so beautiful. I can't wait to serve these to my guests. Okay, so my apple rose pastries cooked for about 45 to 50 minutes in the oven, and they've cooled a bit too. You want to make sure they cool a little bit so that way they're easy to transfer out of your pan. Look at how gorgeous these are. I mean, you can just roll these up the day before and then bake them the day of. You definitely want to bake them when you're serving them because the aroma that your house is going to fill up with is one that you definitely want to have while your guests are there or whoever you're serving them to, because it's just a beautiful aroma of apples and cinnamon and the pastry. It's just, I can't describe it. You just have to make it so that way you can know what it smells like too. Very elegant. So one thing I should mention is you want to cook these in the middle rack of your oven. If you cook them on the bottom of the pastries will burn, and if you cook them on the top rack of your oven, then what's going to happen is they're going to brown too fast on top, and then they're not going to cook properly inside and on the bottom. So the middle rack is the best place to cook these. Now you can serve these with some drizzled chocolate on top if you want to melt some chocolate and drizzle on top of them, with a nice scoop of ice cream or whipped cream, or with a nice sprinkling of powdered sugar. I feel like the powdered sugar really makes them even more pretty. There's something about the way the white tones go when they get inside those crevices of the tart, how they look, it looks beautiful. Let me cut into one and show you what it looks like. I'll cut into a strawberry filled one. Look at that. That just makes me so happy. I don't know, baking is really rewarding, especially when it's this easy to make. Take a piece of the apple. So good. This is like the best, I don't know, it's like a cookie and a pie all in one. I'm going to post a link to the recipe in the description box. It's going to take you straight to my website, to the exact page where all the measurements are written out step by step, everything you need to make this recipe. It's at www.dimitrasdishes.com. Please make this, share pictures with me on Instagram, tag me in it, like my Facebook page. I'm on Facebook a lot and I read your comments. Comment down below and let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to learn how to make next. Subscribe, like the video, you know, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for spending time with me today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye everyone.